Okay, I'm working on this Polaris SLX per customer request. He says the engine turns over but it has no spark. He gave it to me with the batteries out of the jet ski and this panel not screwed down, so indicated the batteries needed to be charged. So he gave me two batteries. I charged them both. I put one in, positive cable first, negative cable, tighten them down, checked voltage is good, but the engine does not turn over at all. It has no power to this up here, I'm not even getting the engine to turn over, so we're going to go from there. I just wanted to point out that this is how I got the jet ski. So I got the electrical box apart because we had no power. We got a bad fuse at this terminal right here. You also got a lot of corrosion in here, so I'm going to try to WD a little bit in here and maybe take a wire brush and clean it up a little bit. Got a positive battery cable here that's got all kinds of corrosion in it in your box. That's bad news too. Alright, so we've got the terminal all cleaned up real pretty, and I'll put back in. You can see it's really nice and clean now. It's got the dielectric grease on it. I'm getting ready to connect all the connectors back. I still need to clean the corrosion off the starter cable. This is the battery cable that comes in and gives everything electricity. So you can see there's mass corrosion right there. So I wanted to show you what a circuit board could end up looking like. This one is just totally ruined. You can see all the terminals that used to be here. They used to look like this. They're completely gone. This one's completely just rusted out completely, and that's what it could have ended up looking like at some point. So you can see this one's just toasted. So, but anyway, so we're getting this back together here, and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, we've got all the connectors all back in. They're all color coded, so you just got to follow what they say the colors are. Gray to gray wires, green and white, and so on. So that's all done. The bolt that went here is a ground screw, and the screw itself was stripped, so I replaced it with a new screw. Just wanted to let you know about that. So all that's left now is we're gonna clean the grounds here and be ready to go. Alright, cool. Okay, so I got the electrical box in. I got the spark plugs out. Your gauge is now working. Looks like your fuel gauge side is not working. Let's see. Let's see, is it starting to work? So you have trim, you have your oil, but your fuel side is not working. So, but otherwise your gauges are working. But you are having a slow crank with this battery in. So I may need to put the other battery in. Let's see here, I'm going to try again in a second. Okay, so currently we have a slow crank. It's just not turning over quick enough. I've tried both of your batteries. Then I even removed and put one of my new batteries in, and it didn't help. So we have probably a ground problem. I just pulled the negative ground cable off and noticed that the contact down there is painted. So if you're getting a good contact at the threads, you know, it still would be might be okay, but we want to clean that area. And then the cable itself was corroded. I just finished cleaning all the ends of it to get better contact, so that could be part of it. So right now we got a slow crank. You could have a starter issue, you could have a poor ground, so we're just trying to narrow it down to figure out why it's turning over so slow. It's not turning over quick enough to start. I replaced two contacts to the starter solenoid here, these two connectors to make sure I'm getting good contact to my starter solenoid also, because they were corroded and they weren't getting good contact inside the harness box here. So we're just trying to narrow things down. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Just continuing on. So this is kind of scary. I'm sitting here and I've just put 5 gallons of gas in here, and I'm gonna try to prime your fuel lines, and I look back for the return line so that I can get to it, and it's not even hooked up. It was buried down there, and the fuel line on the back where it goes back here wasn't hooked up. So if this thing would have started and I would have had fuel running through it, that would have been a scary thing. Get back to business. So we've got this thing running. Started noticing a little bit of smoking down here, and I reached my hand down here on this hose, and there's a clear hole all the way through it, and just barely touching it, it just makes the hole bigger. So this, you can see how bubbled this pipe is right here. He used the old one. I can't even believe he would have put it on, noticing how weak that was. But anyway, I think I'll have an extra piece of hose here. I'll go take a look at my stuff, and we'll have to replace that. Otherwise, check it out. It does start. It's not revving correctly. It's not revving correctly right now. I don't know if you got some bad gas that's still stuck in the line, so I'm going to go run it through the hose for a little while. After I change that hose, we'll run it with some water running through it, and then we will go from there. Okay, so here's your hose that's just totally exploded. I put a brand new 2-inch hose on there, so get a brand new piece there. Alright, so okay, we got it running, we got water running through it. Looks like the fuel light is not working at all. So I have no fuel reading, but I do have oil reading. The light, I don't think it's flashing anymore. It is not revving properly though right now. Not sure why yet. I think the carburetors are gummed up. Okay, so I just put those 2 screws in right there. They were missing. The very bottom one was stripped out. I put a nut on the back of it. I had to loosen the lower bolt there in order to adjust that bracket, in order to get those 2 bolts in. Like I mentioned earlier, we replaced this exhaust hose, added a clamp here, we put this cover on for you. You were missing a clamp, so I put a clamp on. These 2 clamps here were not tightened down, so I tightened those down. Double check that bottom one. So this is all put together now. We have good spark to all 3 cylinders. I did verify. Okay, well, I fixed the fuel gauge. We had a bad connection at the sending unit underneath here. So the gauge is working now. I've also let it sit for a little while, then fired it back up, and seems to be running better now. It's revving a lot nicer. It's idling fine. I also wanted to point out the sponsons here. You got 6 bolts on this side, and on the other side you're missing a bolt, and it looks like it's a direct hole into the hole, so you're going to end up leaking and you could sink your boat right there. So we need to get something in there. It almost looks like the rivet might even be missing inside of there, so we need to do something about that. I just don't want to be responsible if this thing sinks, so point that out now. The Look how long this jet pump is. I wanted to point that out for myself when I do some stuff. So.